he's never going to be able to play Major League Baseball again. But he shouldn't even be allowed to be playing Major League Baseball ever again, considering what he did. Major League Baseball always prides itself in, keeping a clean image. The last thing you need is to have a child sex abuse person back in your league.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 74 of Hitting for the Cycle. I'm your host, Ben Kruse, alongside my co-host, Ryan Touhey. Ryan, we're at the end of June, my friend, whether we want to admit it or not. Summer is absolutely flying by like it does, feel like almost every single year. And that basically means that we are pretty much into the peak part of the baseball season. We're kind of a pretty good glimpse in terms of where both of our teams are. Of course, I've had a lot of drama with my team already, good and bad. Ryan, of course, you've had your ups and downs too. But obviously, before we get into all the great stuff, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Like you said, it's the end of June, and we're about halfway, and we are exactly halfway through the Major League Baseball season. Most teams have played 81 games in the season, so it's just wild. We're already entering the dog days of summer. And, there's a lot to look forward to as we get into July and August and September, obviously. The trade deadline is fast approaching. So, there's going to be a lot of questions that are going to be answered relatively soon. So it's a lot to be excited about if you're a baseball fan.
Yeah. And obviously, to start things off, of course, we have to make sure we get into the socials. Right down here on the ticker bar below at HFTC ETB on the Empty the Bench podcast network. At ETB Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to the Empty the Bench Podcast Network on YouTube. Also, follow Ryan Touhey at R Touhey97. Of course, follow me at Ben Kruse144. Also, make sure to follow us at Hitting for the Cycle at HFTC ETB. Also, to make sure to follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/ETB Network. If you guys want to listen to us on the go, listen to us at Hitting for the Cycle, wherever you guys may get your podcasts. And of course, Ryan, starting today on Baseball Bonanza, we're going to be over at our friends over at Playback. Playback, folks, as usual, it's free. There's no subscriptions. All you just have to do is make an account, sign up. Simple as that. All right. So we obviously want to make sure that we thank our friends over there, as usual, for every single episode. All right, Ryan. So we really haven't had a lot of sad news recently, which is kind of a good thing in terms of our episode. However, we do have to start with some tough news that broke actually yesterday. So Dave Parker, who's a long-term Pittsburgh Pirate, passed away yesterday. Do we happen to know, Ryan, the overall the reasoning for it? Was he, I don't know if he was going through anything.
Yeah, he was dealing with Parkinson's disease for a long time, and he died from complications from that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. RIP to the Parker family. I'm sending my prayers, my condolences over there. He was a legendary Pirate. He spent, Ryan, 11 years with them in a Pirates uniform, 2-time batting title champ, an MVP award, and a World Series champ in 1979. They called him the Cobra over in Pittsburgh, and just absolutely brutal news. Not only if you're just a Pirates fan, but just a baseball fan. And yeah, it's bigger than sports, to be honest, just to obviously deal with something like this.
Yeah, it's very sad and unfortunate timing as well, because he's going to be going into the Hall of Fame. He was voted in by the Veterans Committee to be a member of the class of 2025, and unfortunately, he's not going to be able to, be present for his ceremony. I mean, he'll be watching from above, but yeah, it's definitely going to be a little hard for his family to accept the award with him not being physically present there. But yeah, Parker had a great career. He had a long career. He played in Major League Baseball from 1973 to 1991. He was primarily known for being a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates during their era of dominance in the National League during the 1970s. He played for the Pirates from 73 to 83. He then went on to Cincinnati from 84 to 87. He then joined the A's from 1988 to 1989, picking up another World Series ring with the A's in '89. He joined the Brewers in 1990 and finished his career with a stint in California with the Angels and Blue Jays in 1991. Seven-time All-Star, two-time World Champion, NL MVP in 1978, 3 Gold Gloves from 77 to 79, 3 Silver Sluggers in 85, 86, and 90, a two-time batting champion in 1977 and 78, the NL run batted in leader in 1985, and a member of both the Pittsburgh Pirates and Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame. Very great career he had, and he finished in his overall career stats was 290 batting average, 2,712 hits, 339 career home runs, and 1,493 runs batted in. So very great career for Dave Parker, and like I said, he's going into the Hall of Fame this summer. It's unfortunate that he passed just before his induction ceremony, and our condolences go out to Dave Parker's family, and yeah, rest in peace to the Cobra Dave Parker.
There's something that Jeff Passan posted really quick that I wanted to share with you guys. There's a picture of him, and it was one of the jerseys that he wore. And it was a shirt that he had by the saying of, if you hear any noise, it's just me and the boys bopping, which I thought was really cool. So RIP to Dave Parker. And obviously we lost a good one today. All right, Ryan. Now we have to get into some news that we have talked about in the past. Some news that we really do not want to talk about, but it broke massively by Jeff Passan about 2 or 3 days ago, and that is the Wander Franco story. So, Ryan, of course, this story has been going on, I feel like, for about a couple of years now. Of course,
about 2 years.
About 2 years, yeah. And he's been out of the league, and obviously they're trying to figure out terms of what the situation is. Well, Ryan, we got our word, and he has been found guilty of sexual abuse of a minor in the Dominican Republic and received a suspended of 2 years, which, Ryan, to me, I feel like it should have been forever, personally. Like 2 years, like he's going to be on a 2-year probation and received this, 2-year prison sentence on Thursday after he had a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old girl when he was 21. Prosecutors sought a 5-year sentence. Judge Takira Veras said that Franco would not serve further prison time unless he found a fall of certain conditions, including not contacting minors with sexual intentions. The mother of the victim, Martha Vanessa Chevalier Alamonte, was convicted of sexual trafficking her daughter and sentenced to 10 years in prison after prosecutors proved she fought financial gains from Franco and laundered money. This is obviously, by the way, coming from ESPN. Franco, who's on the Major League Baseball restricted list for failure to report to the team, is likely to have difficulty receiving a work visa in the United States because of the conviction. Should he not require the visa, because he would remain on the restricted list. As long as Franco's on the restricted list, the Rays would not be required to pay the salaries from his 11-year, $182 million contract. The investigation, Ryan, is still not officially over, even though the verdict has been in. He could be furthered with disciplinary actions under the league's domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse policy. So, this is something that, of course, those social media posts happened in 2023. So it's been something that's been going on for a long, long period of time. Even though it's only 2 years, it just feels like we've been talking about this on a constant end. And now we finally get our overall verdict. The thing is that it's not over.
Yeah, this is a slap on the wrist. This is absolutely ridiculous. He gets a 2-year suspended prison sentence. And when I heard that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. That's it? That's all he gets for what he did? I'm not involved in any, court or whatever, or whatnot. But, what he did was despicable. And the fact that that's all he gets is just absurd. That's absurd to me. And, like you mentioned, if he's unable to secure a visa to work in the United States because of his guilty verdict, he's never going to be able to play Major League Baseball again. But he shouldn't even be allowed to be playing Major League Baseball ever again, considering what he did. Major League Baseball always prides itself in, keeping a clean image. The last thing you need is to have a child sex abuse person back in your league. So, no, take note. This is a message for every Major League Baseball team. Do not consider bringing in Wander Franco. Please don't. Okay? Please, for the love of God, do not. And, like you said, it's just astonishing that this is all that he got. I don't know what else to say.
And didn't the victim, Ryan, so what I've been seeing with people on social media is there's been people that are out there that are saying that the victim that Wander Franco sexually abused is getting more time than Wander Franco is, which makes absolutely no sense. He was the person that caused this stuff. It wasn't the person that he sexually abused.
Yeah,
which makes absolutely no sense.
No, not at all. And like you mentioned, this has been an ongoing story, obviously, for 2 years now, and it just, I guess it's probably going to continue. Because now, this is a suspended prison sentence. So as long as he doesn't, right now he's a free man. As long as he doesn't violate his parole, Franco is free. So, you're letting this guy, you're saying as long as he doesn't violate, or violate his parole and do some of the things that he did, he's safe. And I'm just like, all right, well, once this 2-year suspension is up, how do you know he's not going to go back to doing it?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
The thing is, too, is they have proof. They have proof specifically in terms of what he did was wrong. And the league specifically will probably not let this guy go back and play in baseball.
Should never step foot on a Major League Baseball field ever again.
And if they do, shame on the league. Shame on the league specifically, because I saw there was a Yankee fan that was out, I think, posted on social media. I'm obviously not going to call names out, but it was a specific guy that was like, Volpe is disaster.
Oh,
we should consider, after Wander Franco is done potentially with his 2 years, to bring this guy in.
I don't want to associate myself with Yankee fans like that.
I legitimately, there was Yankee fans specifically, and there's a great community. Shout out to Empire State of Baseball. They brought this guy specifically was actually on a Twitter space, which is kind of it's like a round table type of thing where you can kind of talk to people specifically by voice. You can't see him video, but it's just by voice. And the guy specifically went on and he basically said, well, I'm just having some humor. You guys don't realize the humor that I legitimately had no words. No words. This is a baseball player specifically that should not be not only looking at playing baseball, but his life should be out.
Yeah, it
makes no sense.
Yeah,
some people are
stupid. That's a stupid comment. I'm not going to elaborate any further on that.
Yeah, no, and we shouldn't. So, but yeah, that's the latest. It's a story we don't like to talk about, but of course it's a story that we've been talking about for a while. So that's the latest on the Wander Franco story. Remember the Shohei stuff, Ryan, we had to talk about? This is very similar, in a way, in terms of just we don't want to talk about this type of story, but unfortunately, in the sports world, there's a lot of stories, unfortunately, that are not great stories, and we, of course, have to still talk about it. And so, unfortunately, Ryan, I still think that this is far from over, and we're probably going to get some more stuff, hopefully not in a short amount of time, but he has been found guilty of this abuse, and hopefully specifically that they extend this, because I just feel like 2 years is just, it's too short. It's really too short based in terms of what's going on. All right, now let's kind of get into something that is more unfortunate news, and that is that Ron Washington, wow, I can't talk right now, will miss the remainder of the season with health concerns. Ryan, Ron Washington has been looked at as one of the best managers in baseball for a long period of time. But he's getting up there in age. He's 73. And, he had to take a medical leave and deservedly so for him. He's obviously somebody, like I said, it's getting up there in age, and, your health is obviously bigger. And he's probably kicking himself right now in terms of he wants to manage and try to get this baseball team, who's the team that's been playing really well actually right now in his absence. As of late, most thing that he wants to do is go out there and support the teammates. He seems like a great guy also. That's just another thing about Ron Washington. But he is missing the remainder of the season with health concerns. Ryan, if you want to elaborate kind of more on the health concerns, because I never really kind of got to the health concerns that he's kind of dealing with right now, by all means, go ahead. But I mean, as of right now, I'm in the store, kind of broke a couple days ago. And, yeah, he's going to miss the remainder of the season. My thoughts and prayers go out to Ron and the family right now. Of course, they're dealing with a very tough time. And we just hope and pray that the concerns, the health stuff that he's going through just doesn't linger on for a while, a couple more years. So just hopefully that he's going to be okay.
Yeah, well, they never specifically announced what it was that Washington is dealing with. However, in an article from Fox News from Ryan Canfield, he reportedly said that Washington had been sidelined after experience shortness of breath at the end of the Angels series against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium, which ended on June 19th. And after the conclusion of that series, Washington and the Angels flew back to California, and he was placed on medical leave, and he underwent a series of tests. And Washington, like you mentioned, he's 73 years old. He's the oldest manager in baseball right now. And he's going to be missing the rest of the season to focus primarily on his health, and he should. This is the second year of Washington's 2-year contract that he signed with the Angels prior to the 2024 season. He does have a club option for next year. We'll see if the Angels are going to pick that up or if they're going to move on from Washington. But Washington went 103 and 140 in 243 games with the Angels steering the ship. But he's been in baseball forever. I mean, he's been in baseball as a coach since 1996. He's primarily been a coach with the A's. He was a third base coach with them. He was also the third base coach with the Braves from 2017 to 2023. And he also managed the Rangers before the Angels, and he led the Rangers to 2 World Series appearances in 2010 and 2011. So he's been a baseball lifer. That's been his life. And I mean, he's been around this game for forever. So, it maybe, all the years of traveling all across the country, all the hours spent at the ballpark, it might be starting to take a little bit of a toll on him. I mean, I don't see Washington staying in the game much longer, regardless. If he comes back next year, if he does come back next year to manage the Angels, I think that will be his final season managing. I mean, yeah, you just hope that he's able to overcome this, that he's able to take care of himself, that he's able to receive whatever treatment that he needs to take care of whatever it is that he's dealing with. So, yeah, our thoughts and prayers are with Ron Washington, that he, gets through this, and we see him back in the dugout next year.
When you were talking about Ryan in terms of the travel, I was thinking about he probably doesn't have many more seasons left, but maybe if that's the case in terms of the travels, just kind of get into them. There's a reason that we have bench coaches, and there's a reason specifically that we have other coaches that are kind of underneath the overall manager. Whether it's, for instance, Alex Cora this year, his daughter Camilla graduated from Boston College, and so they had a bench coach take over for a game, right? Those, of course, are certain instances. But if a manager, of course, is dealing with health problems, right? I would imagine that the league would understand specifically of maybe you have Ron Washington just do the home games, which is pretty much do the home games and basically have the bench coach do the others. Now, I will say this, of course, because there's a lot of away games that pushes a ton of pressure just on the bench coach to obviously perform, right? A lot more than kind of usually. I don't know in terms of if that would be the best overall option, but I just obviously just had that as an overall idea because if he still obviously wants to be part of the overall games and stuff like that, maybe just for him and his presence, it's probably better where he can go and just be around and be at the home ballpark. But like virtually, like he could probably still be like part of like the meetings and stuff, like, you know, for the games and stuff on the road and just still talk with the players and still like be involved. It's not like he would not be involved. It just, he physically won't be there.
Well, this is kind of an unpopular opinion that I have. I don't know how you feel about this, but I kind of think that there should be an age limit on when you can manage. I don't think. I think Major League Baseball.
Okay.
I think Major League Baseball should maybe put an age limit on managers. I don't think. I mean, if you're older than 65, I mean, I don't think you should manage more than if you're older than 65, if you ask me. I just think that the wear and tear from traveling all across the country is just going to get to you. It's mostly out of concern that I would have for the coaches. You know, this is an example. You know, I hope that I don't know what Washington's dealing with. We don't know that, but you never know. I mean, you know, I just want to make sure that, you know, these guys, you know, I understand these guys love baseball. They eat, breathe, and sleep it. It's part of their DNA. But I just think that, you know, it's too much. You're on the road constantly. That you're spending every single day at the ballpark. I just think it takes a toll on the health of a guy who's in his late 60s, early 70s, so on and so forth. I mean, we kind of saw with Tony La Russa when he returned to the White Sox a couple of years ago. The guy had no business being in the dugout. Yeah. So, you know, I just think that there should be an age limit for when you can manage.
I agree with you on that. And, you know, I'd be curious in terms of if there's more coaches or managers. I always coaches, managers, same thing, really. In terms of that, there's a limit because, you know, it's all about performance, right, for the team. And obviously, if you're a coach, manager that's getting up there, right, and they just feel like that they can't put their best foot forward out there on the field, it's a negative asset than anything. So, yeah, I think just hoping for Ron that he is going to be okay and, you know, just wish him all.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, we're going to kick our news over to two things out on the West Coast. So we talked about Rafi to the San Francisco Giants. Still, I can't even believe that's even a sentence that I have to say, Ryan. It's been now about anniversary, about a week. And if you want to ask me in terms of gotten over it, the answer is no. So the Giants have announced that Barry Bonds has a statue in the works outside of Oracle Park. Ryan, of course, a lot of people, when it comes to Barry Bonds, the steroids stuff, right, in terms of his overall type of figure as an overall player, but he is one of the best players in the world, bar none, right? And he deserves one. You know, if obviously there's a lot of guys out there still that, you know, probably don't deserve to obviously make the Hall of Fame, but they still get in. It's kind of similar, like in terms of when it comes to a statue, right? But this is somebody that deserves one for sure. When I think about the San Francisco Giants, he emphasizes it, right? It's obviously a ballpark too that I told you off the air that this is on my bucket list that I would like to go see. And so, yeah, I mean, what do you really think about this?
Yeah, so the announcement came after Giants president and CEO Larry Baer was being interviewed on the radio, and he said that a statue of Barry Bonds was on his radar. He doesn't have a day or time or year when it's going to be finished by, but he said on an appearance on San Francisco's 95.7, this is Baer, he said Barry is certainly deserving of a statue, and I would say he should be next up. We don't have the exact location and the exact date and the exact timing. It's coming. All I can say is it's coming. And this is coming from the Associated Press. So, yeah, my thoughts about this. Barry Bonds is one of the most controversial baseball players in the history of Major League Baseball, hands down. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And, you know, he is very, very interesting, to say the least. I think Barry Bonds was born to play baseball. The guy just had baseball in his DNA from the moment he entered this world. I mean, his father played baseball. His godfather was Willie Mays. I mean, this guy was baseball. He was easily a first ballot Hall of Famer, when he first came on board, and he was playing throughout the 90s. Once, the home run race in 1998 concluded, he was kind of on the back burner of that. And that kind of led him down the path to taking performance-enhancing drugs, or report supposedly taking performance-enhancing drugs. Bonds always claimed that he never took PEDs, but it's hard to buy that considering his body transformation. But Bonds, regardless of what you think about him, I think that he kind of damaged his legacy with all that stuff with Balco and the home run record, 73 home runs in one season. People always, for the people who defend Barry Bonds, they always say steroids don't increase hand-eye coordination and all that stuff. That may be true, but I don't think he's hitting 73 home runs if he's not on steroids, especially at that ballpark. That is just ludicrous. But regardless, it's a story for another. That's a completely different topic. Barry Bonds is one of the greatest San Francisco Giants of all time, if not the greatest. The only one who I would consider being better than him is Willie Mays. And Barry Bonds and Willie Mays are the San Francisco Giants. They are the two dynamic forces in the history of that franchise in San Francisco specifically. And I guess actually Willie Mays is more of a New York Giant legend, honestly, than San Francisco. Barry Bonds is Mr. San Francisco Giant, if you ask me. And he played for the Giants for a long time, with them from 1993 to 2007. And, he was ridiculous. I mean, he started off by winning the MVP award in his first season with the Giants, and he never looked back. I mean, obviously, he got better. We all know the story. I don't need to repeat myself there. But Barry Bonds is, in my opinion, deserving of a statue, regardless of all the crap that he did throughout his career. And I know he's still unpopular with a lot of baseball fans and a lot of people. And, he has himself to blame for that. I mean, he has himself to blame for not being inducted into the Hall of Fame, the way he conducted himself during his career and all that stuff. But regardless, you can't deny that Barry Bonds was a hell of a baseball player. And in terms of his place in San Francisco Giants history, that's important to recognize more than anything else. Barry Bonds is a San Francisco Giant at the end of the day, and he's deserving of a statue.
Ryan, Barry Bonds is somebody that not only is the San Francisco Giants, but there was two things when it comes to Barry Bonds. I don't know if you've had any memories when it came to Barry Bonds, but for me, I had a memory that was a very distinct memory because I saw Barry Bonds play live. And it was my first ever time at Wrigley Field. So not only I saw Barry Bonds play live, I went to Wrigley Field for the first time, which to me, it's legitimately like a Midwest Fenway. I mean, it's by far one of the best ballparks I've ever been to. And just, he was on the home run pace. Remember, obviously, the big home run pace that everybody was talking about? They played the Giants. The Cubs played the Giants, and Barry Bonds had 2 homers the game that I was at. So it was, when you talk about baseball memories, I know obviously we want to talk about just overall teams. That to me was up there for one of the top baseball memories, at least that I've ever seen, but just physically seen in person makes it even more special. So, congrats in terms of Barry Bonds, right? Congrats to him and to congrats to the Giants, because this is obviously a type of thing that not many type of athletes get, but a lot of the special ones do. Can't wait for Tom Brady's to come up pretty soon, by the way. Hitting for the Cycle is presented by Playback. Watching sports is more fun with others, but we spend too much of our time watching alone. Playback is a virtual space where communities can stream live sports together with everyone perfectly synced up. Creators can hop on stage, deliver their own play-by-play analysis and commentary, and invite viewers up for Q&A. Playback makes watching sports fully interactive and a social experience, from playing fantasy sports, repping your favorite players and teams, and watching with the commentators and communities you care about. Win or lose, sports are best enjoyed together. Join our community by going to playback.tv/CGB Network to find out more, including our live stream schedule. And now back to the show. We talk about staying out west. Ryan, the Athletics. Speaking of the Athletics, Ryan, do you hear about Luis Severino? And the reason why I'm asking you about Luis Severino, it's actually funny enough relating to the ballpark news.
Well, I know that he's pitching today against the Yankees.
Okay.
But Luis Severino, I know also his home away splits are ridiculous.
You're
His
getting
home-
close. I mean, if you're trying to take a guess in terms of what I'm getting to, Bob Nightingale from the USA Today reported in his big article he posts out every single week that Luis Severino, the A's cannot wait to trade Luis Severino, according to Nightingale, because Luis Severino is getting sick and tired already in the first year of the ballpark. I mean, you would think that more pitchers, Ryan, would be a lot more shocked about this overall type of news, but you shouldn't be because it's a AAA ballpark. The dimensions obviously are a lot different, and I mean, you can't though. To be fair, it's crazy in terms of the splits because you see a lot of different type of pitchers that have bad road to home splits. I mean, you look at Walker Buehler right now; his road to home splits are crazy, right? But yeah, Luis Severino apparently to Nightingale. I mean, take Nightingale with a grain of salt, but he is pretty tight and reachable when it comes to trade talk. The A's cannot wait to get rid of him. And if you remember, the A's paid Luis Severino one of the biggest contracts in franchise history. And now, Ryan, we get to this overall story in which the A's are officially on a groundwork to get Vegas as a new ballpark. Now, Ryan, before we get into this overall thing, I do want to show you the overall audience what this new ballpark is projected to look like. So right there, I know obviously you guys can't see our faces, but that's a quick look in terms of what the ballpark is going to look like in Vegas, right? It's just kind of that overall traditional type of park, right? You, of course, have the Las Vegas skyline that's in the background. But, I mean, heck, it's a ballpark that, you know, you look at Allegiant Stadium for the Raiders, right? The Raiders obviously needed to get, obviously, out of Oakland. In terms actually funny enough where the A's played, they obviously have a brand new type of stadium, you know, art facility type of place, which I've never been to Vegas myself, but if I do get the chance to, and that would be obviously a great type of place to go see. But yeah, I mean, what do you think this overall type of news, Ryan? And I think when it comes to the A's, right? You know, I still remember watching SNY when the Mets play the A's, and you know, Steve Gelbs. Shout out to Steve Gelbs as a team reporter. Did you obviously see the big barn and stuff in the outfield? You know, for this year for the A's. Apparently, you know, because of course Oakland fans were so, you know, disgusted about, of course, the team moving, and you know, you would think in terms of with the overall fans from Oakland move to Sacramento and kind of support the team. From what it sounded like from the Mets reporter Steve Gelbs, who I mean I trust Steve a lot because he's very tight with they obviously go into different parks and stuff. He talked to a lot of the fans in the background at the Sacramento games, and he said it was pretty much just all Sacramento fans, which I mean, I can definitely understand because I bet Oakland fans are very pissed off in terms of that the team never sticked around and John Fisher, you know, being cheap and stuff like that. But yeah, just I think it should be really exciting type of news. But I mean, I don't know. How do you feel about this type of news, Ryan? And yeah, I mean, I think that this park's gonna be cool. It's just now the fact is like, what type of fan bases are we gonna get? Because it was always the Oakland A's. Then it was like the Las Vegas A's for a year, and now it's going to be the Vegas A's. Like it's just, I feel for that. I feel for the ownership, and I just feel for like the diehard type of fans for that organization. I really do.
Well, I don't feel for the ownership, that's for sure. But
well,
yeah.
no, I don't feel for the ownership, but I feel bad for the fans that support the ownership.
I guess so. They broke ground on June 23rd. So the stadium's construction is officially underway. And, you know, Ben, like you just did, you know, you showed the picture of this ballpark to our audience. That looks strange, honestly. It looks beautiful. I'm sure it'll be beautiful in person, but but even still, I'm looking at that picture and I'm like, are the A's really going to be able to afford something like that? I mean, can you mind just going back to the picture one more time, please?
Yes. Yep.
Look at the freaking scoreboard in right field. Look at that. I can guarantee. I don't know if
you know what that reminds me of, Ryan?
What?
Isn't the Tokyo Dome kind of had just like that dome-ish, but like the big scoreboard, I think, in right field?
Well, yeah, but the Tokyo Dome doesn't have the scoreboard's not like that in the Tokyo Dome, though. though. Like,
No,
I
but
don't
it
think
doesn't have that certain type of like. I don't know how to describe it. Like, because I think this place is gonna have a dome, right?
Well, it's a.
Like a retractable.
I think it has. I think it has a retract. It might have a retractable roof, possibly. I'm not 100% sure, but regardless, I can see that scoreboard going out from time to time. I just think that that scoreboard looks ridiculous.
Yeah, it's too big.
But yeah, I mean, this whole situation with the A's is just ridiculous too, if you ask me. I don't blame Luis Severino for being pissed and wanting out of that stadium. I don't think any athletic is happy playing in that stadium.
They can't be.
There's no way. There's absolutely no way anybody is happy. Any member of the A's is happy playing in that stadium. The stadium is a AAA ballpark, first and foremost. The ball flies out of that ballpark, especially during the summer. Pitchers' ERAs are through the roof.
I mean, the A's suck there, which is the funny part.
Yes.
They've been awful at that park, in which they should be able to take advantage for. But it's typical A's, right? You know, you would think that the A's not only would be a much better team this year, but you would think that going to a ballpark that has cheaper and slighter dimensions, that to be able to thrive there. Well, just looking at the overall record at home, if I can get there right now, you keep going, Ryan. I'll take a look at their home record. I'm very curious about that. But
the dimensions are crazy. The ball flies out of that ballpark. It's a tiny stadium. And the clubhouse, you have to leave the frickin' field to get to the clubhouse to begin with as well. So who could possibly be happy playing at this stadium? Say what you want about the Oakland Coliseum, all right? I get that place was a dump. But, God, at least that place had things that you needed for a Major League Baseball team. Yes, the foul territory was outrageously large. And yes, I understand that there were wild animals running around the stadium from time to time, which, yes, I get it. It was an outdated dump. All right. I understand the A's.
16-24, by the way, for the A's at home, it looks like.
Gross. Yes, I understand that stadium had no business still being in operation at this time. But regardless, it still would have been better to be playing there than at this minor league stadium. Within the oppressive heat in Sacramento during the summer, like everybody's crammed in there like sardines. It's just a joke. I hate the fact that the A's are playing at this stadium. I'm not an A's fan at all, but this is it's a disgrace. John Fisher has handled this so poorly. He's got an ego the size of the state of California, and so does Oakland's mayor. The fact that the two of them couldn't at least come up with a compromise of an agreement. Yeah, I would have preferred, obviously, the A's to have gotten a new stadium in Oakland. Everybody would have preferred that. But it's a battle of egos. The fact is, both sides are to blame there. I still feel for Oakland fans, but it was a battle of egos. Oakland's mayor was completely incompetent. She lost all of her professional sports teams. And, Fisher, on the other hand, was so desperate to get out of Oakland that he deliberately tanked the team, constantly trading away Oakland's biggest stars year in and year out, never even hanging on to them for maybe more than 2 years at most. And then immediately just cut the cord with all of them, cut payroll, just so that he could save up and have this precious stadium in the city of Las Vegas. So, I mean, if I feel bad for anybody, I feel bad for Oakland A's fans and Oakland Athletics players. And nobody else deserves sympathy.
Agreed. 100% agreed. And so, yeah, I mean, we'll have to see in terms of what happens next, but I do think that as of right now, that's the overall latest there. All right. The home run derby, Ryan, is going to be approaching us. I don't even know. Every single year, I just
July 14th.
Thank you. So what's that? Crap, that's in
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, because I wanted my cruise last summer during the All-Star week. Wow, it's been almost a year since I've been on that trip. Great trip, by the way. Yeah, so Ronald Acuna Jr. and Cal Raleigh are participating in the home run derby. There also is news, Ryan, that there's a couple of guys that haven't been. I totally forgot in terms of who are some of the guys that are not participating in the home run derby, but there are a couple of guys that they reached out to that haven't been. But these are two guys that, Cal Raleigh, of course, is one of the top guys in the first half of the season when it comes to home runs. I feel like just a broken record that every single time I have this, I don't know if you follow on X, Ryan, the MLB home runs
Not really
X
active on X.
Okay. So there's a X account that is MLB home runs, which by the way, it's basically you just get a notification in terms of who hits a homer. It's literally one of my favorite favorite accounts, and almost every single night I see Cal Raleigh's name that pops up on the that X account that says home run. Like I could probably just screenshot that probably because he's been on like a home run streak for what, like 6 or 7 days straight now.
Well, I don't know if he's. I think that streak kind of ended a couple of days ago, but he hit a home run. I think in 4 straight games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
He's at 32 right now, and it's June 29th, the day of this recording.
he probably. I mean, granted, he could. I wouldn't go 60, but definitely 50.
I mean, I could see him hitting 50. I think he's going to slow down. I don't see him keeping up this pace, especially with the wear and tear of being a catcher. But it's just an amazing story. And we were critical of the Mariners' contract extension of him prior to the beginning of the season. I called him a catching version of Chris Davis, and he is making me eat those words.
And then some
32 home runs, as 32. I mean, he has just been on fire. I don't know what he did this offseason, but he certainly did something to improve his offense because he was always hitting. I mean, not only has he got 32 home runs, he also has a pretty good average. He's hitting 276, and he's never been an average guy. So, he is just – this is his career season. I mean, he has just found it this year, both at the plate and behind the dish. I mean, right now, I mean – I don't know if he's being discussed for the American League's Most Valuable Player award this year. I mean, I think it depends on how the Mariners finish. I think that's going to play a role in whether or not he wins the award. But I mean, he's leading all of Major League Baseball in home runs right now, and he looks like a different player this year than he has at any point in his career. He looks like he's completely different. And the Mariners. Without him, the Mariners would not be still fighting for a playoff spot. I mean, the Mariners have already lost their division lead to the Astros. So it's, Raleigh has just been tremendous this year. There's really no other way to put it. And, I mean, like I said, I don't think he's going to hit 60 home runs. I don't think he's going to get in that range. But I could see him finishing in the high 40s or low 50s. That's where I think he's going to finish. And it's been – I mean, he broke Johnny Bench's record for the most home runs by a catcher before the All-Star break. He surpassed Johnny freaking Bench, arguably the greatest catcher in the history of baseball.
Yeah.
And he also has the most home runs, I believe, by a switch-hitting catcher before the All-Star break in the season. So it's just been a tremendous season for Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, just looking at his overall stats right now. 276 276 average, a 387 OBP, a 648 slug, a 1,034 OPS. The guy's putting up numbers right now like Aaron Judge in the first half, which, like you were talking about, Ryan, that we thought that this contract would be probably terrible. I mean, look at the Mariners, right? The Mariners, we talked about them in our season preview as one of the teams that really didn't upgrade in terms of their offense. Well, as of this part of the time on June 29th, the Mariners currently are 42 and 40. I actually kind of thought they would be a lot better than they are. Well, there's another team we got to talk about who's hot, who's not. Hint, hint, hint. But yeah, no, Cal Raleigh is doing great. But Ronald Acuna Jr., this is kind of one that I'm a little surprised about in a way. Not because that Ronald Acuna Jr. isn't a bad player. He's one of the best players in baseball. But Ronald Acuna Jr. missed a lot of time in the first half of the season. And we talk about, the home run derby could be potentially some curses to some guys, right? The second half after just swinging specifically just with like soft tossing type of things. Then you obviously go against guys that are now throwing 95 miles an hour, different type of velocity type of pitches. And it's different, right? And they can just never kind of get themselves back. But for some guys, Ryan, actually, for doing the home run derby, it actually kind of gets guys going. Look at Juan Soto. I think was it one of the Nationals years that Juan Soto won it? He had a terrible first half, and then he just broke out on the scene that second half. So for some guys it works, but for some guys it doesn't. And I think for Ronald Acuna Jr. and Cal Raleigh, I think that both guys would do really well in this.
to be honest, Ryan, I got to disagree with you on the Cal Raleigh stuff when it comes to, I think that his second half, I think it is sustainable. I really do. I think that this guy right now is just whatever stuff that he's doing right now. I don't think that he's going to change it. Personally, I don't see this type of guy changing it up. Now, do I think that he's going to put up the similar type of numbers in the first half? Probably not. But I don't see, I mean, if the Mariners want to make a push in the playoffs, I think that he has to be one of their focal point type of guys. And I could really see it. I mean, I really could see it. Like you said, in terms of like him hitting around 50 homers, I think he's going to hit 50 homers. Like I do think it's going to happen. It's just a matter in terms of like, I'm not saying 60, but maybe like 51-ish, 52. Yeah, I think it's possible.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. If he gets into the 50s, I could see him going around 51, 52 home runs. But yeah, and in terms of Acuna, I mean, it's a little odd that he's going to be in the home run derby, considering that he just got back.
Right.
But he's been tearing the cover off the ball, though.
Right. No, it'll be one thing if it's just like a guy that's coming back that's like just kind of a type of player. It's Ronald Acuna Jr. So I was like, all right.
They needed a big name in this home run derby, and Acuna is that guy. He's a bigger name than Cal Raleigh, although Raleigh's name has certainly escalated this season with the way he's played. But yeah, Acuna has already got 9 home runs, and he just got back about a month ago. So he hasn't slowed down. I mean, 2 blown ACLs, and he has picked up right where he left off. So I don't know if I think Acuna, this is going to be is this Acuna's first or second home run derby? I think he's participated in one other.
He has, yeah. I was actually going to show you the picture of it on here. I never got to that, but I think it was in Colorado.
Yes, Colorado, yes. So yeah, this will be his second home run derby. So this is good for Acuna, and honestly, this is something that Brave fans I think could just enjoy, because this has just been a disastrous season for the Braves. There really has been nothing to cheer. There hasn't been much for them to cheer about other than the return of Acuna. So, to see their guy participate in the home run derby this year, it'll be a nice sight for them, and we'll see how Acuna does. But yeah, so we'll see who ends up joining these guys in the coming days.
Okay, so you know how I talked about who's not going to be the home run derby? I'm looking on USA Today, and I found out 3 participants that won't. The 3 participants that I did find out are Teoscar Hernandez, who won it last year. Mm-hmm. And he said, according to USA Today, I was considering it at the beginning, but not right now. He said this on June 27th, which was 2 days ago, so this was Friday. He said it on a LA sports radio show. He said, I think I'm not going to do it this year, maybe next year. Because last year when I finished the home run derby, I was a little tired. I was tight. My body was a little tired. And with the injury that I have with my groin this year, I don't want to put anything at risk, which, of course, makes a lot of sense. Shohei Ohtani, he's not doing it this year. And you know who is not also doing it this year, but is going to try to do it in the next couple of years, is Elly De La Cruz from the Cincinnati Reds. He said that the time is going to come, but not now. So that's obviously the latest there. So, we have Acuna and Raleigh participating in the home run derby, and we will see what happens from here.
Oh yeah, I forgot. It's in Atlanta this year. Acuna is going to be performing in Atlanta.
Well, you know what, Ryan? Now we could really say, okay, it makes all sense in the world, because not only it's Ronald Acuna Jr., but it's in his home park. So
I totally forgot the All-Star game and home run derby are in Atlanta this year. I was asking myself, where the hell is it this year? I forgot, and then I remembered, because it was actually supposed to be in Atlanta in 2021, and that it got switched to Colorado that year there was something not related to baseball and Major League Baseball, which I did not agree with at all. Pulled the plug on Atlanta, because I think they passed a law or something like that Major League Baseball didn't like. So yeah, I still think that was a bad move. I don't think I think that'll always leave a bad taste in Atlanta fans' mouths for the way that was handled. But yeah, Atlanta gets the All-Star game in the home run derby this year, and it'll be a nice sight for Acuna to perform. And because of that, I think he's going to win the home run derby this year.
You booked it right here, folks. Ryan has said that Ronald Acuna won the home run derby. two guys to watch out for that potentially could be participating. I mean, of course, I don't have any type of insight, but wouldn't shock me if Bobby Witt Jr., of course, he was so close to winning it last year. I could definitely see Witt coming back to try to play it this year. And Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber is an absolute machine. He is just made for a type of event like this, so we will see what happens. All right, Ryan. Of course, we can't go without an episode without talking about our team reports and doing our who's hot and who is not. I know, Ryan, I'm sorry that we have to do this, but here we go. All right, so for the Red Sox, because Ryan, of course, I will start with my team, and I'm not going to bash them. I won't bash them, even though that I love them. But, of course, this is the first week post-Rafael Devers. Still no Alex Bregman, still no Masataka Yoshida. But Ryan, remember Masataka Yoshida? Remember that game we went to last year? I don't know if you remember that game with Masataka Yoshida.
Can I have amnesia for that, please?
All right, I got you. Masataka Yoshida is going to be having a rehab assignment in AAA next week. So the guy is actually alive. And Core actually said that he's going to be playing some outfield, which I found very, very interesting, to say the least. But he is going to be coming back. Alex Bregman met with the media yesterday. Of course, Bregman's been out since May, like Memorial Day. And he is, I think they're just saying after the All-Star break, which kind of sucks. But I think it'll be like right after the All-Star break. So whenever, I think we play the Cubs right after the break in Wrigley. So I think that'll be kind of a cool way to get him back. But the thing is, like, we have to be still within the race. All right, so Rafael Devers and the Sox, of course, played each other. We haven't talked about the Rafael Devers Red Sox weekend yet. So the Friday game happened, right? And I'm like, this is, like I had to see this guy wearing Giants uniforms against my baseball team. Like, I felt like I was an opposite day. Like I was in a different illusion. That's like Aaron Judge wearing Giants colors, right? Because, of course, the Arson Judge. How would you feel about that? Like, imagine that, obviously, because you saw like the Photoshop and stuff like that happening with Aaron Judge obviously wearing Giant stuff before.
I would have felt seriously ill.
That's welcome to my world right now. Like, I literally looked at that. I was like, that cannot be real. You see what I honestly should not feel surprised at this point, because now I've seen Mookie Betts wearing a different uniform that's not Red Sox. Xander Bogaerts wearing a different uniform that's not Red Sox. Andrew Benintendi that's not wearing a different uniform that's not Red Sox. Nathan Eovaldi. See the trend going on? I should be getting used to that point in time where the 2018. Oh yeah, Chris Sale, JD Martinez apparently is going to be having a Texas Rangers non-invite. With that, I guess.
Yeah, I was about to say, where's JD?
Yeah. JD might be coming back and playing, which I'll be very happy for JD. But
JD Martinez is the most underappreciated baseball player I've ever seen in my life.
He's so good. I love Jumbo Don. He was just one of the, in terms of, I think it was a Dombrowski hire, right, Ron? That we got?
Dombrowski hire. That was one of Dombrowski's best moves in his career.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. And yeah, I mean, Jumbo Don was still part of it. In the last time run that the Red Sox made the playoffs, Rafi was on the team. Jumbo Don was on the team.
JD was there. JD was there.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Verdugo. Yeah. But Verdugo is actually pretty good with us. So in 2021 he was.
Yeah, that was his peak.
Yeah. And then he just fell off the earth. But yeah, in terms of the series, really quick, because we were kind of running out of time right now. Red Sox lose 2 out of 3. The Saturday game, the Sox were down 3-0 the whole entire way until the 9th inning, and then they were close, but they did not conquer. And then the Sunday game, they should have won. They actually attacked Robbie right early on. They got to a 4-2 lead in the 5th inning. Unfortunately, Giolito, who pitched well, by the way, yesterday, gave a back-to-back homers in the 5th. He still had a decent outing, but it wasn't like great per se, kind of in his end. And then Cedon, who honestly should have been team MVP for the weekend. He was phenomenal. Got a homer, made a 5-4. But then the Red Sox of May, the defensive miscues and just the idiocy came back into fruition. Romy dropped the ball, and then just kind of the floodgates opened from there. The Red Sox, they should have honestly won this series, but they didn't. Rafi gets the last laugh. Giants win the series 2-3. And then Ryan, we go to the Angels, which I'm like, all right, maybe the Red Sox just had to kind of get away from playing Raffy, just seeing kind of that face, and just kind of playing the Angels. And the Angels, of course, took 2 out of 3 against us. I found I'm like, the Angels can't be that great of a type of team. Well, it was another story. The Red Sox were up 3-0 to start the first game. However, Walker Buehler decided to make his name right and start walking guys.
What
7
a
walks.
disaster he's been this year.
Yeah, and he's pitching today. Rip. And yeah, Angels took the first game 9-5. Yeah, not good. Second game, the Red Sox were up 2-1 in extras. Brian, I feel your pain as a Sox fan when it comes to extra inning losses, and I felt that for my team. Christian Moore, who's a 9-hitter, tied the game in the 8th, walked it off in extras. Sox lose 3-2. Wednesday happened, the day game. Richard Fitch pitched. Didn't pitch awful, but it wasn't great. Yusei Kikuchi, who was like our thorn apparently for some odd reason, was like Sandy Koufax. Ryan, you actually worked the game, by the way, for your job. So, of course, you saw it firsthand. Red Sox lose 5-2. We go home for the first time, it feels like forever, and play the Blue Jays. And the Blue Jays have kind of been our thorn. Friday was arguably probably the worst game of the season, and we've had a lot of bad games. Jose Barrios absolutely carved us up. Brian Bale actually didn't have a bad start, which is the funny part of it, but we got absolutely no offense at all. It was a sleepwalk type of game. Sox had shut out 9-0. But of course, as I talked to you about off the air, baseball is such a funny sport, and you get the chance to play it every single day, which is kind of a privilege. So getting out of work yesterday and checking that the Red Sox had a 6-0 score, I had to make sure that my eyes were checked right because the Red Sox, since Raffy Devers, have only averaged 2 runs a game. And they did it against a really good pitcher in Chris Bassett, who's absolutely carved us up. So baseball can just be so funny at times. It's just sometimes it just never makes sense. But give credit to the Sox. Of course, hopefully today that they find a way because yesterday obviously means nothing. But at least it felt good to win one. Of course, if you've seen that meme, that's how it really felt yesterday because the Red Sox have not won a lot of games recently. But they put on arguably one of the best inning performances of the season. And it was Roman Anthony's first multi-hit game as a member of the Boston Red Sox. He's really starting to kind of come things around after kind of a slow start, which, of course, which is kind of expected. But, yeah, Red Sox are crap. I think they're 2 games under 500. They're still not playing great ball at all. But let's see.
All right, well, I'll get my
team. Go ahead.
All right, so last time we spoke, we had an episode. I mentioned how the Yankees had lost 3 in a row to the Angels during their 4-game home series against them. The Yankees wound up winning the final game against the Angels, so they lost 3 out of 4 to the Angels. Then the Orioles came into town, and the Yankees lost a tough one on Friday night. Luke Weaver made his return from the injured list, but promptly gave up a home run to, I believe, the first batter he faced. So welcome back, Luke. And then the Orioles won the first game, but then the Yankees won the next 2 games, including a 1-hit performance by the Yankees in the second game on Saturday, June 21st. Clark Schmidt pitched a 7-inning no-hitter. And that was broken up by Gary Sanchez, none other than in the top of the 8th inning after the Yankees took out Clark because of his high pitch counts. JT Brubaker was the victim of giving up the single to Sanchez. But regardless, the Yankees won that game 9-0. And then in the finale, the Yankees had a dramatic come from behind win and won that game by a score of 4-2. Jazz Chisholm with an RBI triple in the bottom of the 8th inning. So the Yankees took 2 out of 3 from the Orioles. So that was nice to see. And you're thinking to yourself, all right, the Yankees have righted the ship. Not so fast. They go to Cincinnati and they lose 2 out of 3 to them, including another extra inning loss. What else is there?
Into the list.
Yep. And then we go back home to Yankee Stadium this weekend. We are currently playing the cityless A's this weekend. Yankees take the first game 3-0. They got another home run by Jazz Chisholm. And I forget how they got the other. I forget how they.
LeMahieu infield single.
Yeah, LeMahieu infield single.
And it was
that's it. That was it. That was all the. That was all the offense. So that was yesterday. So that was Friday night, and this can be the only way I could describe Saturday's game.
Brother, this guy stinks.
7-0 loss, 3 hits against the A's. JP Sears looked like Randy Johnson. The Yankees gave no freaking effort. That was the worst game the Yankees played all season, hands down. A piss poor performance.
And I saw the Austin Wells play of the butt.
I wanted to lose my mind. Wells is driving me up a wall. It's been
I
a
don't know how
disaster.
that happens.
He panicked.
Mm.
He panicked. There is no understanding of the situation with this team. They don't think. They just do it without a trace of thought. And Wells has had a miserable season, and a lot of Yankees are in slumps right now. Aaron Judge is still not found it. He's still slumping, but he's not alone. Basically, everybody in the lineup right now, besides Jazz Chisholm, is slumping.
Volpe is still.
Volpe. Well, I've already provided my 2 cents. I'm going to be a broken record.
I mean, how many more years do you have with this guy? Like, I'm not even trying to.
This is only his third year in the big leagues, so he's got a couple more years under team control. So
I mean, you never know. I mean, the guy's obviously still young; he could obviously turn it around. But it's like, what can obviously prove that, right?
The guy's hitting 230.
It just doesn't seem like.
Buddy, this is year 3. You got to hit at least 250 this year. You cannot hit 230 again. Or like him and Wells have really they've been killing this team. The two of them are I understand they're young. They're still learning. But like you got to make some progress here. And they're not showing any signs of progress. If anything, they're showing signs of regression. Volpe's defense is worse now than it's ever been. And Wells can't hit for nothing.
Yeah.
So it's just that's the Yankees right now. They're very inconsistent, and they barely have the lead in the American League East. Half a game over the Rays, who have just caught fire.
All right, quickly, who's hot, who's not? I already got mine ready to go. Who's hot team is the Houston Astros, Ryan. The Houston Astros have been absolutely going on fire. I feel like a broken record because last year they were kind of like for the first half. And then I think it was right before the All-Star break or like right after, we're like, yep, that's the Astros. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and they're getting a hell of a lot of production from guys like Jeremy Pena, Cam Smith. So they're absolutely riding high right now. My team that is not killing it right now is – hold on, let me get to them. Well, I mean, I guess it's the Rockies. The Rockies, the Rockies just suck. But, I mean, we're kind of out of time really quick. So, yeah, why not the Rockies? You guys deserve to be shit on. And, of course, the play that you had in the rain. Yeah, screw you.
My who's hot team, Milwaukee Brewers. 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row. They're only 2 games behind the Cubs in the National League Central. So the Brew Crew, when you thought they were dead and out, they're back. And we'll see what they end up doing at the deadline. So the Brewers are back. And they are my who is hot team. And who is not, I could go in a lot of different directions here, obviously. But for who's not, let's go with the New York Mets. 3-7 in their last 10, and they've lost 2 in a row. They are playing absolutely miserable baseball right now, and they are getting killed by the Pittsburgh Pirates of all teams. Can't happen. Cannot happen, and they've fallen out of first place in the National League East. Only half game behind Philadelphia, but yeah, Mets, congratulations. You're who's not for me this week.
Rip to Frank Fleming, by the way. Oh my God, the guy might have a stroke by the end of the season with the way that he keeps on ranting every single game about him. All right, players, really quick. My who is hot. I'm going to go with Alejandro Kirk from the Blue Jays, Ryan. This is, of course, the guy that never kind of believed in terms of his production. But right now, Ryan, Alejandro Kirk, in 68 games played, 315 average, 362 OBP, a 435 slug with a 797 OPS. So pretty good stuff from Alejandro Kirk. He's never really been a power hitter. He only has 7 homers. But, yeah, I mean, he is top 5 in batting average right now. So my who's hot. My who's not, Ryan? Lane Thomas. Remember Lane Thomas, Ryan? Remember that guy? That guy that was on the Nationals?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah. Well, this guy has been absolutely horrendous with the Cleveland Guardians this year. He is batting a 171 average, a 242 OBP, a 270 slug with a 512 OPS. He had a 738 OPS last year. So, yeah, Lane Thomas, you're getting criticized, my friend. I'm sorry. If you don't want to get criticized again for the season, play better. So,
all right. So for my who's hot, this is a guy who gave you nightmares last week. Joe Adele. What a month he had.
Oh.
Joe Adele has been on fire. He had
That's a
over
great pick,
10
though.
home
I
runs
like
in
that.
the month of June. Killed the Red Sox last weekend. He's hitting 370.
You guys know, right?
Was that?
At Yankee Stadium at that homer.
He homered in that game on Sunday.
He kills us even more. So yeah.
But yes, he had 10 home runs, I think, during the month of June. And he has 5 in his last 15. And in his last 15 games, I'll do that. 291 average, 5 home runs, 8 runs batted in. He has been swinging the bat very well, and he's been kind of the star for the Angels right now, as the Angels have been playing some pretty good baseball for the first time in God knows how many years. So Joe Adele is my who's hot, and since we're out of time here, who's not? I'm just gonna go Austin Wells. Got to pick it up too.
All right. Well, that'll do it for episode 74 of Hitting for the Cycle. Make sure to follow us on all of our socials, as usual, as I talk about, of course, throughout the episode. But we're out of time, folks. See you all next week. Happy 4th of July, by the way. We won't be probably back until, of course, beforehand recording. We'll have to see. But regardless, happy July 4th. We'll see you all next week.
Adios.